international program, international live conference. Today is 20th June now. Dhaka, Bangladesh time is 9 past 6 minutes. We are all on the international live conference, live program. We have our international guests with us, and we have many flags together, multinational cultures, multinational international guests. So we have Mr. Jared from America. He has joined us on this international program. Mr. Dudik from Europe, Ms. Karishma from India, and Molay Kumar Ghoshal from India, and Saeed, my dearest international friend from Morocco. And this is your international host, Monira Sultana. I have joined from Dhaka, Bangladesh. Thanks all of you for joining this program. So we gonna start our program, that is the elaborate discussion on the corruption in public sector, abuse of power, political corruption that is a barrier to SDG, peace and development. We wanna also discuss the point roadmap to solutions and guidance, how to gain people's trust in the system. We will have in-depth discussion on the manifestations, causes, suggested remedies for all sorts of corruptions in public sector. So I want to connect first Mr. Jarod, and I will request to have our introductory session. Can we please listen from Mr. Jarod? Can you please introductory part for introduction section? Can you please introduce yourself, Mr. Jarod from America?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Jared Crockett from United States of America. I am the first vice president and the chief for international security for United Forces International. I've currently been working in the law enforcement sector now for 30 years between military and civilian, and just recently retired as a federal law enforcement officer for 20 years. So, got plenty of experience, and I'm happy to be here with everybody and ready to share some knowledge with everyone.
Okay, great to know you. Now I would like to connect my international guest, international speaker, Mr. George Dudik, who is really involved in many social activities. We're gonna hear from his own voice. So, Mr. Dudik, can we please all listen from your introductory section? Can you please introduce yourself, Mr. Dudik? From Europe, Serbia.
Ja sam rođen sam u Jugoslaviji.
He is born in Yugoslavia.
To je bivša zemlja, danas Srbija.
Today Serbia.
Inače sam borac za ljudska prava.
He is a fighter for human rights.
Yeah.
Predstavnik sam Ujedinjene Jugoslavije.
He is for United Yugoslavia.
Koja je na svih 6 bivših republika jugoslovenskih, odnosno današnjih država.
It's with all 6 republics of former Yugoslavia.
To su Crna Gora, Kroacija, Montenegro, Croatian, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Macedonia, and Slovenia, and Srbija. Ja sam poručnik Templar.
He is a Templar.
Kako bi mogao da sudjelujem u nekom radu, da pomognem više ljudima.
And he wants to help the people.
Great. Great to hear from.
Danas vidim mnogo problema.
He can see a lot of problems today.
Ne samo u Jugoslaviji.
Not only in Yugoslavia.
Vidim ih u celoj Evropi.
It's in whole Europe.
A koliko sam uspeo da primetim, to postoji u celom svetu.
And in the whole world.
Problem je u zloupotrebi položaja. Who have power have many people who have power, and that with this power do it a really bad job. I volao bi da nekako stanemo na tome.
Okay.
And I load to the stop in this way from the any people who make a bad thing with the power. These people like policemen, like soldier, like regional leader. These people, it's many people who think bad thing with power. Every leader have power. Uh, uh, or presidents from the country and any people who have power. This power make a really good thing, or this leader must go to jail.
Okay, thanks. So, thanks a lot, Mr. Dudik, who has currently joined from Serbia. He is a great social activist, a humanitarian worker, and we know that he has got great titles and honorary titles. He has got a lot of international friends with him. And Mr. Dudik, I really would like to thank you so much for helping me to organize international programs. Thanks, our dearest friend Dudik. So, after America, after Europe, now would like to listen from dearest international model, our dearest international sister, Miss Karishma. She has joined us from India. She has many great contributions. She has many great qualities. She is a great leader, a public speaker, and I don't know what words should be suited for her. So let's welcome her and let's listen from her. Miss, actually, Dr. Karishma Moni, can we hear from you your introductory part? Please introduce yourself, my dearest sister, international leader and speaker, Dr. Karishma Moni. Welcoming you. How are you today?
Hi, dear Monira, and lots of love to you from India as well as from my side and my family's side. And thank you for inviting me today to this international conference. It's lovely to meet all the lovely people and speakers present over here. And today we are going to discuss a very nice topic and very important topic actually, and which is only being talked about but never been discussed like this. So it would be a great pleasure to have the views of various speakers on this topic. I'm Dr. Karishma Mani from India, working as an anchor from last 12 years, and I'm also an actress working in films. You can all Google me as actress Karishma Mani. As well as I have got 15 world records from all the countries for my two different colors of eyes, 500 plus awards, and 18 doctorates from international countries for all my achievements. I'm also a generalist. And basically today's topic we are mostly writing in all the papers and showing it in the news channels, but it would be great to discuss today with all of you. And I'm also a model doing modeling shows, ramp walks and everything. And my greetings to each one of you. And tonight we are going to make this topic on the international level. Tonight we are going to raise our voice against this topic. And tonight we are going to make this channel into a lot of international level. So good wishes to all of you, and let's rock the show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Karishma Muni. It's good to hear from you. And as we can see, we have international another leader, my dearest and very close to my heart. And all of you have heard many times on this international platform welcoming our honorable lecturer at Calcutta University, our dearest Maloy Kumar Ghoshal from India. Can we all hear from you, please? How are you today? Maloy Kumar Ghoshal from India.
First of all, I would like to say namaste in Sanskrit. If I'm not wrong, the expression namaste is derived from namo haste, which means greetings from heart. And indeed, I extend my most cordial, warmest, and no doubt respectful and sincere greetings to all of you. Well, I am a public servant. That is my identity. I endeavor to render my service in public interests. Initially, in Europe, I was a student of international law, both international public as well as private laws. But my main aim is to discourage illegal human trafficking and indeed illegal slavery. No doubt both of them are illegal, I believe, befitting the legal systems of most of the countries of our civilized world. I crave leave first to listen to all of you before expressing myself, and I shall be grateful to hear from you first. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So I want to here convey one of our international leader, Ms. Hayat from Tunisia. She has sent us a great message on this international platform that my very best wishes, honorable members, who are dealing with the basic issues building governments and consequently the whole world. She has sent us this message from Tunisia. So I am really very much delighted to hear our dearest international leader and the speaker, Ms. Hayat from Tunisia. And now I would like to have one of our guests and my dearest friend, Mr. Said from Morocco. Can you please introduce yourself, Mr. Said from Morocco? How are you today?
Fine, I'm fine. Yes. All thank and the price compete with the most precious expression of respect and appreciation for Sister Monia for this awesome and greeting to all those present. Happy to be with you.
Thank you. You want to add anything, Said?
What's this?
Do you want to add anything? Do you want to speak more?
Uh, I don't understand.
Okay, no problem. Okay, thanks. So as you can see on this international global issue, that is corruption. And I don't know how to be thankful to all of you to come over here and to be very much courageous and bold enough to speak on this very critical issue. I should say that you are all very much bold, very much courageous. You are really holding great power inside of you. First of all, I would like to connect our dearest international, very important person who worked in military section. He is at present the chief of an international NGO in America and is dealing with group of administrative people. So would like to listen from Mr. Jarod. I am going to connect you for the question and answer session, the second session of our program. Mr. Jarod, I have question number one, that is, what is the present scenario of the consequences of corruption? And four, governance, cross-country research, links between political and economic power. We know that you are holding a great position. You have marvelous experience. and still you are connected worldwide with administrative people, with military people. So how you'd like to explain this point of view? I want to request you to shed light on the consequence of corruption and poor governance. Cross-country research links between political and economic power. Mr. Jarrell.
Okay, from what you guys have probably seen and watched the news, we've been having a lot of issues here in the United States involving political corruption also, just the same as everybody else around the world. We've had, like with the election that we had last year, where they said there's a possibility that it was a rigged election to people that's clearly violating laws with no retributions whatsoever. And this is becoming a problem now with literally all countries where we see people that's, violating human rights and
Yes.
nothing happens now. And that's what it's becoming. It's a political factor now where anybody with money has no retribution for their own actions. And I mean, everybody should have to take consequences if they're violating laws, violating rights, causing genocides nearly, and there should be some form of action against them. The links with political corruption, we see this everywhere. I mean, in all countries, all the corporations now, and it's more money talks.
Yes.
Yeah, if a poor person does something, they go to prison for long periods of time. If a rich person does something, nothing happens to them.
Right.
So this is where we see a lot of the corruption now. Is it's everything has to deal with money now.
True. Very true. Okay. Thanks. Thanks for shedding light on this and to have your great explanation, Mr. Jarrod, because this is the person who belongs to the most experienced background, Mr. Jarrod, because he is currently also involved in many sections with administrative people and is still working in international NGO as the chair. So I would like to listen from my dearest international guest, Mr. Dudik, for the questions same as I have asked to Mr. Jarrod. What is the present scenario of the consequence of corruption, poor governance, cross-country research links between political and economical power? What is your point of view, Mr. Dudik from Europe, Serbia?
It's very have corruption in Europe. First, have corruption in the court, and have corruption in administration, in police, in everywhere. Every people love the money, but people who have the power don't. Many people don't have a consequence for the bad job for the corruption. Just take some if some normal and good police arrest one criminal man, and that criminal go to jail or the court, and lawyer and judge, судья, and the judge just go the freedom, release him, and this is a big problem. First, if you have men who kill somebody, and not one people, kill more people, and to police, arrest him, and go to court, and judge just give the freedom and release him. This is a really problem, and people have afraid, have afraid, and
True.
yes, and when policemen if who have power, who's not good police, have everywhere have good people, bad people, like the well, have everywhere have good and bad people. That's similar in the court, on the police, on everywhere. First, everywhere I my apologize. I apologize for my English. My English is not good. I'm sorry. Uh, and
But we
I'm
can understand you very
yeah,
clearly.
and that is a great problem, not just from Serbia. Now that's problem in Germany, and that's problem in Austria. Before 2 or 5 years, if you take the policeman, take the money in Austria or the Germany, you have a really problem. You go to rest. Now, if you take the money in Germany, in Austria, now that's okay. You can go. Now, this is a big problem. Not just the Balkan. Balkan every time have the problem, but some country like Germany or Denmark or another. That's before to be really good, not 100%, but good. Now that's it's problem everywhere, uh, and must have any any people who have a job must to have a consequence for this bad job, and I think that's in my mind. I think from the united country, every country in the world need some organization who can uh, see in every country, and this consequences for this job must go to the church for religion is not bad. Religion is good, but some leader uh, have a problem. Some leader take the fanatism in the people and make the angry some people for another faith, and this is a war here, and some leader people like presidents, like diplomatic men talk bad for another people, uh, for another color or nationality or the never mind. Just talk bad thing, and these people hate another people, and we have a problem. And this is must somebody to see everywhere. Have some people who go there and created there and see what somebody do. If you go like a uniform, go to I see what you talk, and another people who talk bad in this moment can talk good, but must have some organization who can go in and like usual man influence and the recording who do bad thing, this must have consequences. I think.
Okay.
I think my
Yeah, yeah.
English is not good, but I think I hope you understand me.
Yeah, we
Yes.
understand. And Mr. Jared has sent a great encouraging message for you, Mr. Dudek. Can you please check the chat box? He is giving you thumbs up and great, great encouragement for your language. He said that your English is much better than Mr. Jared's English. Am I right, Mr. Jared?
Yes, you are. When I first got the notice for the meeting, I was trying to set my clock to make sure that I matched the times, and it's let's see, it is now 10:30 here, and I've been awake since 4 o'clock this morning after going to bed at 1. So my English right now is probably going to be very horrible.
Okay, okay. Thanks a lot for your great, great explanation and sharing your feeling and present conditions. Okay, so I would like to connect my dearest international speaker and leader, Dr. Karishma Moni, for her explanation on the question number one, that is Mr. and Dr. Karishma Moni, I want to ask you what is the present scenario of the consequences of corruption and poor governance, cross-country research, links between political and economical power. As we have all heard from America and Europe, so now I would like to listen India's present condition. How do you like to explain, Dr. Karishma Moni from India?
Her
Karishma,
mic's on
your
mute.
microphone is off.
Me?
Yeah,
Yes,
now.
Monira?
let's go.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. Thank you, Monira, for giving me a chance to explain this topic, and each one of you for listening to me for for some of while. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Monira, if I may ask, what makes your country's name bad? What you will say, or what others will say? Some will say child labor, some will say illiteracy, some will say violence. But I say a thing that makes my country's name bad is corruption. It is more dangerous than coronavirus nowadays because it's spreading and growing very fast. It's it's also it's also making people viral. It's also growing very fast. So I think it's more dangerous than coronavirus corruption. Okay, if I may put this word corruption into a quote, I can say corruption is a disease and transparency is its treatment. Okay, so
Right.
but we would I would just like to analyze where did the corruption came from. Where did the corruption came from? We have been talking about there is a corruption, there is a corruption, there is a corruption, but how did the corruption came into existence? It came into existence because of us, because of a person, human behavior, because of an individual. And why
Right.
it came? Because we do not have patience, no patience for work. you know uh, the government officers or the people who are on the higher post, and those who are corrupt, those who are doing this type of activities, we easily blame them, but we are only one who are promoting them to do. Okay, like if you see nowadays, there is a trend that if you want to take admission in school, you have to pay lots of fees, lots of donation, and then you can get an admission in school. So why they are doing it? Because we are encouraging them to do. Because those parents whose children are not getting admission in a particular good hi-fi school, they are promoting corruption. They are giving extra money to them to get admission in schools, and then they are promoting corruption in this way. This is one example of corruption. Like this, there are many. So I think the individual is the main factor for increasing the promotion. We are solely responsible for increasing this corruption. I feel so.
True. True. Okay, Dr. Karishma Moni, it was really, really great to hear from you. I hope Mr. Jarod from America and Mr. Dudik from Europe can understand how power girl Dr. Karishma Moni is. I have been talking to a lady, she was from Romania, and when I have shared that our program is on the corruption and government political abusement of power, she was very shaky and she was not very confident to come on this live program. But I congratulate and applaud and great honor. I am conveying my regards to Dr. Karishma Mani for her great encouragement and courageous bold voice. Dr. Karishma Moni, I am really proud of you. Thanks for your voice. And now I would like to connect our dearest international lecturer at Calcutta University. He has raised his voice many times and he has joined our international program also many times. Maloy Kumar Kaushal of Sundarbans from India. I would like to ask you the same question, that what is the present scenario of the consequences of corruption and poor governance? Cross-country research links between political and economical power. How you would like to view this question and how you would like to explain this? Maloy Kumar Ghoshal.
Before I try to elaborate the situation, I crave leave to go back to history in a single moment. If I'm not wrong, the noun corruption does not merely and necessarily involve bribery. It's a far, it's a word which has much wider significance, much wider meaning. Even in the very first book of the Holy Bible or the Torah, we see before the sin flood came to sweep away the humanity and all the other creatures, with the exception of the family of Noah, it is said the earth was corrupted and violent. So what Dr. Karisma Moni just expressed about other things, child labor, human trafficking, oppression, all these things can be included into that word, and I should say many other types of wrong can be included in that particular expression, corruption. In the second book of the Holy Bible, Exodus, we also see when God Almighty gives his commandments to Moses, he says that you shall not accept a bribe because bribe blinds a judge. He talks about fairness and justice, that we should not distinguish between the poor and the rich when we are sitting as judges or just judgesses. Indeed, in certain countries, the judges have to take an oath that they will pronounce a judgment without fear or favor, ill will, or affection. That is the custom in the United Kingdom. That is the custom in our country, India. And this is most certainly, I believe, if I'm not wrong, I crave leave to be corrected. Mr. Gerard will agree with me, the system in the United States of America, because great judges, justices, including Chief Justice Holmes and Justice Cardozo, whose principles I honor from the very core of my heart, were definitely distinguished justices of the United States of America, facing the benches in the Supreme Court. But you see, in our country, we have certain possibilities. As I mentioned once before, our system rests on three pillars, like a tripod or a three-legged stool. One is known as the legislative organ, which passes the law. This is found as the Parliament of the Republic of India as a whole, and the legislative bodies found in every single state of India, provided the so-called governor's rule, or as is the presidency rule, is not passed in order to abolish those legislative assemblies. But in no country the legislation can be applied unless this is adopted and practiced by the another organ known as the administrative body, which includes, of course, the civil service in certain countries. In our country, we call it public service or administrative service, which include the police forces, the defense forces, and. And of course, the most important of all, I believe in my view, is the judiciary, which requires to be absolutely, we call it in British English, disinterested, but some people misunderstand the expression, but that means impartial, not uninterested, impartial. If any of these three organs of a state is not properly balanced, like the tripod stool, it is endangered to fall. And if it is a wooden stool, it will break. And I said earlier also, on another occasion, the stool requires to stand on a smooth floor. And the floor has to be the people of that country who should not allow themselves to be corrupted. That is not necessarily accepting bribe. Corruption also is encouraged by many people fearing to lose their jobs if they report the matters, the crimes which are being committed against their colleagues, for example, against their fellow countrymen and women. They're afraid of certain groups. My apologies to Mr. Jarrett, but not long ago I was listening to the BBC World Service, and I heard about a sect or a cult in the United States which abducted, as they call it, kidnapped, or I should say misled ladies, and led them to a very hidden place, and they were being in a place which is worse, that is characterized in that notorious book called The Story of Oak. That is a sort of corruption too. But you see, we have, for example, here, Central Bureau of Investigation, called CBI, which circulated by cell phones only about a year and a half ago to various individuals that they should report such incidences to the CBI authorities if public servants demanded money of them, which is bribery, of course. But you see, too many people are afraid to open their mouths. This happens even in the most developed and industrialized countries of the world. This happens in our country too. During my stay in Germany, I discovered they have a wonderful system. If I, for example, wanted to file a case per counsel, of course, I'm talking about first by an advocate, what you call attorneys at law in the United States, Mr. Jarrett. They don't usually accept cash money. The money is paid into their account, they transfer it to the court, and also the compensation which is paid to the complainants are then returned in a very similar manner, first to the lawyer and then to the account of the complainant, the demandant or the plaintiff, of course. You see, this controls very strongly and indeed reduces the chances of corruption, bribery in a sense, or even corruption, which of course may appear, or I should say, even it may be encouraged by people's taking cash money. But again, you see, in our country, are totally ignorant of their fundamental rights. In the United States, Mr. Gerald, correct me if I'm not wrong, you have so-called Bill of Rights. And indeed, the Declaration of Independence very clearly made it clear, and I believe Ms. Munira Sultana Poppy
Yes.
will disagree with me. It says all men are equal before God, because she will say, why not women? But of course, in those days, women did not have a great voice. In certain
True,
countries,
true,
my
true.
surname Bhushan is derived from legend, according to certain legends, a lady named Ghosha who lived in the Vedic period, thousands of years ago. And of course, in those days, women had a say in our country. But we had an Islamic rule which was imposed by the Mughal emperor, initially Akbar, and then, of course, his descendants, which destroyed that system and divided our population between men and women. But well, that is a second issue. But corruption, as far as bribery is concerned, I believe that anyone who pays is equally to be blamed as anyone who accepts the bribe, because unless we pay the bribe, nobody can accept the bribe. But as Miss, I beg your pardon, Dr. Mani, or Charisma Mani pointed out, we always want shortcuts and paying
Right.
money. We want to have our work done far more readily, far more without much difficulties, and we want the favor only for ourselves. And that is definitely the very root of the corruption in our country, at least. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. I would like to connect one of my greatest international friend, Mr. Nasser. He is from Egypt. He is a journalist in Egypt. Mr. Nasser, can you hear me, please? Nasser, can you hear me? I can see he has joined and he has sent photo in our chat box. Nasser, can you please hear me? I don't know.
Something.
Right. You want to say, you want to please talk on the explanation for the question number 1, that is, what is the present scenario of the consequences of corruption and poor governance? Cross-country research links between political and economical power. Said from Morocco.
Okay. Okay. At the first, it seems to me that the issue of corruption with its different definition. I consider it a lie. Yes, corruption is a lie. And therefore, I see the opposite issue here, where we must speak about the impact of reverse lies on corruption. Corruption has become the lie, and the lie has become corruption. So, if I return to your question, I think that administrative corruption has become rampant in facility, in justice, in health, in education, in the economy, in international relations, within the family, encouraged by corrupt regime, especially in poor countries, in the path of growth and the poor country, which led to the deterioration of conditions and the emergence of armed movements that are also corrupt. Corrupt regime receives support from the United Nations among the countries considering this system under the pretext of establishing development projects that will not see the light of day.
Okay. Okay.
Corruption of the administration and I mean here the regime also manifests itself in the reduction of the aid directly from the United Nations or from friendly country under the pretext of establishing development project for the poor, directing them to another path. The corruption of the regime has a record that is manifested in persecution, starvation, and intimidation of its citizens, which led to the emergence of armed movement and group either because they are not satisfied with the situation or it does not take its share of the process of corruption. So condition deteriorates and the crime increases without accountability because the judiciary is corrupt and the moral is lacking because education is corrupt. Disease effort because hate is corrupt, and the economic collapse because its foundation is corrupt. Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks. Thanks, our dearest international speaker. He is director at the Minister of Education. Mr. Sahid has explained his view from Morocco. Nasir, can you please listen to me now? Nasir, dearest journalist from Egypt, we can see you. Can you see me and can you please listen to my voice? Nasir?
Yes. Hello.
Okay.
Yes. Hello.
Yes, Nasir. I want to ask you
Yes.
the question number one.
I
What
am
is the
pleased to
present
meet you.
scenario? Okay, thank you.
Yes, as
Thank you so much.
a free
So can
corporation
I
as
ask you the question number one, or you want to say something? You can say, please. Nasir, can you please tell about
yes.
yourself?
Yes. Okay. Well, welcome all my friends. Administrative corporation as a the functional behavior that is provides official regulation and laws and functional ethics and social values and order are personal interest more for the between law. Which included preparatory and extension the word cooperation and the French language damage, sabotage, cooperation of morals, customers, and behavior, bravery of and employee as it is known also.
Okay. I think there is Nasir. You want to add something?
Uh, Everything that's okay. For,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes. Yes. Okay, thank you. Thanks for your view. Our dearest international journalist from Egypt, Mr. Nasser, has explained his view and introductory part. So now would like to
Yes.
connect our dearest
Thank,
leader from America, Mr.
thank you.
Charo, for the question number two, corruption and international development cooperation. What is the current view on that? Why we have failed again and again to stop corruption? What is your view, international leader and international speaker, our dearest guest, Mr. Jarrod from America?
Okay, my view on how to stop the corruption, as I just said in the chat room, is we all claim to be democratic societies. And if we have a person that is rather running the country poorly or we can see is plainly corrupt, why do we keep voting him into office? I mean, same thing with what we have with some of our senators here is we have people that's been in office 40, 40 plus years that everybody knows is corrupt, but yet they still vote them back in. If you as the people know that you have a political party or a person that you are voting into authority for your country, you also have the authority to vote them out.
Right.
And that is one thing that a lot of countries don't see is you do have the power to get rid of these corrupt people.
So, can I connect our dearest international guest, our bosom friend, Mr. Georgia Dudik, for the question number 2. Dudik, can you please tell us corruption and international development cooperation? What is the current view on that? Why we have failed again and again to stop corruption? What is your point of view, our dearest leader, Mr. Georgia Dudik?
For the win corruption, we must, I think, we must have connection many countries, not just one country. If we have on the head, if we have in head country corruption, we have a problem. Uh, we must have contact in many countries, like international army or international police or some police who have some police who have every country authorities. We must have many country contact, and when have some police who had head or on the world, we can making a better thing. Like Brussels in Europe, but like United Nation. But we must have some people who have police on the all the world, and like like choose in every country police like choose like the way, and this will on the world, I believe. Or one have power that not good. One country, every country, uh, uh,
Some kind of it's a
I'm not
call
sure
for the mosque.
if you understand me.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Dudik, for your kind view. So, Karishma Moni from India, our dearest international leader and speaker, I want to ask you the question number 2, corruption and international development cooperation. What is the current view on that? Why we have failed again and again to stop it? Question number 2, Karishma Moni, your microphone is off.
One second.
Nasir, can you please put your microphone off because we are getting noise from your side, Nasir?
Hello?
Nasir, we are getting a noise from your side. Can you please put your microphone off?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Karishma, yeah, tell
Okay.
us about
Camera.
answer question number 2.
Monira, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go on.
No, we cannot hear you now.
Karishma, your microphone is off.
You just spoke and then.
Karishma, your microphone is still off. Yeah.
Monira, can you hear now?
Yeah. We can hear. Please go on.
I don't know, it's automatically getting, off. I think due to some network problem, there is an issue because we have a rainy season over here. So maybe, okay. Monira, your question, why we are failing to stop corruption, I have the best answer for it. That we peoples are not fighters. We peoples are not fighters to fight back. We are seeing that corruption is going on and we are tolerating it. We don't have a, fighting will to fight against corruption. When there are some processions, there are always processions like stop rape, stop crimes, but there is no procession which can say stop corruption. We see very less quotes, very less awareness regarding corruption. Okay, peoples are charging like a delivery boy comes to give you a delivery and he charges more than the market rate, or he charges something extra to give you the delivery at home, and we are paying. So we are not fighters, we are tolerable people who are tolerating corruption. That's the first reason we are being failing to stop corruption. Secondly, there is lack of awareness. Okay, like if you see in hotels, if you go, okay, so they are selling the water, the bottles of the water in more than MRP, but we are still tolerating, maybe due to tax, or because we do not have a education, we do not have a awareness to fight back. So mainly the reason is we are not fighters. We are tolerable people who are tolerating all this means corruption things, and we are seeing that all those corruption is happening in front of us, but because of lack of knowledge, because of lack of awareness, because of this behavior, that we cannot fight back. This is why the corruption is getting increased and we are being continuously failing. Secondly, nowadays social media is so powerful enough that we can have lots of educational things, lots of laws, lots of things to learn from it, lots of things against corruptions to share from it, but we are not sharing because the government policies are nowadays like, if you speak anything against the government or anything regarding the state or something, then they will automatically be blocked, your profiles and all. So these are the things that are we are failing to stop corruption. And thirdly, in schools, there are lots of chapters for moral science and everything, but there is no chapter for corruption. This should be included in curriculum so that a future generation would learn to fight back. From the childhood, we are seeing corruption, but we are not raising the voice because we think we are single, what we can do being a single. But I think the coming generation should get so much educated, but despite being single, they can fight back against corruption. So I think fighting back against corruption is more important. And firstly, we should fight with ourselves. We should fight with ourselves, not to promote it. We are the main reasons to promote it. So firstly, we have to be patient. We have to be, collecting the strength not to promote corruption rather than blaming others for corruption. So firstly, we have to be strong enough and we should stop ourselves from doing corruption. This is the one thing we can stop corruption. If we do not stop ourselves from doing corruption, then we will definitely fail to stop corruption.
Wow. What is a bold voice, Karishma. Thanks a lot. How beautifully presented the answer. She was explaining how beautifully, how marvelous the way. I must thank Karishma for joining this and raising her great, great voice. I love you, Karishma, my dearest sister from India. So now I would like to connect our dearest lecturer at Calcutta University for the question number 2, corruption and international development cooperation. What is the current view on that according to you? Why we have failed again and again to stop corruption? What do you think, our dearest international leader and our guide, Molloy Kumar Ghoshal from India?
Well, Dr. Karisma Nani has already, I believe, spoken well enough, and I do not have much to add. I would only like to emphasize that we need education in our country for everyone, so that everyone becomes aware of his or her rights. Only last night, our time, Indian Standard Time, I recalled the great incidents that took place in Texas of the United States of America in the year 1865, when the Union troops marched into that state, declaring the slaves to be free. In those days, please correct me, Mr. Jarrett, if I'm wrong, almost no slave could read and write, and many others could not too. But you see, this education which brought the United States of America to become a superpower today, because most Americans are well educated. And this is something that is lacking on the Asian subcontinent, including our country. And once we can build up a proper circle of educated people who educate others, then this will probably be, the corruption will probably be discouraged. Once I mentioned this on another occasion, a very good friend of mine, a German lawyer, once said to me something, and I'm just translating. He said, Molloy, if you know of a single person sitting in jail who is innocent but couldn't prove his innocence and has been convicted and is currently in jail, and if you can bring him out, or two persons, two people, and they in their turn can bring out two additional innocent persons in their turn. That means already each of them and a six individuals are free. And if these six individuals go and can free each of them another two, then the circle increases. So it is with educational circle. If we can educate others to educate the remaining one, then our country will become educated as a whole, the population, and corruption will be defeated, at least to some extent. But unless that is done, I'm afraid we will be moving in a vicious circle, because each of us will be thinking perhaps that we will get our way out if we pay an additional sum, and let us do the same, we don't care about the rest. But that is the evil in a society, which corrupts a society as a whole. You agree with me, Mr. Jarrett?
Yeah, I think so. So, can we connect our dearest friend, Mr. Said, for the
Yes,
same question number 2, why we have failed again and again to stop corruption? What do you think?
well, for me, corruption entails international development cooperation as the world answers the new decade of the 19 with the ambition to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. United Nations Organization for Combating Crime has stressed that intensifying efforts to eradicate corruption and promote good governance are essential to fulfilling our global pledge. to leave no one behind. It prevents people from accessing the resource and the opportunity that should be valuable to them, as well weakens trust in public institutions and weakens to social contract between them and the citizens of the world. Corruption spoils development programs to build a better world. That's all.
Okay. Thanks a lot. So this is the time to hear from America. So dearest international leader, Mr. Jarod, I would like to ask question number 3, corruption risks in the field of administrative services and access and control system. Who is in the charge of control supervision for the activities in public administration? Question number 3 to our dearest international leader and very important person from America, Mr. Gerald.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's kind of a difficult question for us, especially here in America, because of the types of corruptions that everybody's facing. Okay, can you repeat the question again one more time so I make sure I have a good understanding of it?
Yeah, sure. My question number 3 is corruption risks in the field of administrative services. So we want to know actually who is in the charge of access and controlling system. Who has the power, this access and controlling system of corruption? Who is leading all this show? Behind of the corruption, who is there? Who is supervising? Who is controlling these activities? That our government knows we have corruption in the public administration, but why they are not stopping it? Why we are not getting the appropriate fair judgment, fair system in all our country? What do you think, our dearest international guest, Mr. Jaro?
Okay, this one can be easily be explained. It's kind of like when you're looking at a pyramid. The country leaders are at the top, but who's over watching them? And for the administrative side, it's like rolling a ball down a hill, where it starts at the top and works its all the way down to the bottom. Everybody sees it, but nobody knows what to do with it. And they can't roll the ball back up the hill, so at the top there is no control. Now, when the other gentleman said that in that we do have checks and balances where our three-tier government overwatches each other to make sure that one doesn't have the supreme power over the whole entire country, where like the legislative, the executive, and the judicial branches all meet together, and one makes the law, one writes the laws, one enforces the law, and one adjudicates the laws. If there's a break in that system somewhere, then there's where the corruption comes in. Because if there's a law that's unfair, or if somebody makes a judgment where you do have people being imprisoned because they don't have the ability to defend for themselves, then I'm kind of losing my words here. And yes, your English is better than mine today. But overall, it's a pyramid effect, and this is where we have a lot of the issues. That is, you want to get to the top of the pyramid, there's nowhere else for it to go. So all the people on the administrative side down below them all have to suffer repercussions because there is no check on the top. And for the public sector, for some reason my microphone keeps cutting in and out.
Yeah. Can we put our microphone off while one person is speaking? Yes. We are getting noise. Please put all of your microphones so that we can hear speaker's voice very clearly, kindly. Kindly put all of your microphone off. We are getting noise from someone's PC or mobile. Yeah, still the noise. Uh, Let me put my microphone off.
Does well, does might be feedback, but I don't know what it is.
Can we please put all our microphone off? Only the speaker's microphone will be on kindly. When a person will speak, the speaker's microphone should be on and the other's microphone should be off. Can we all put our microphone off kindly?
The squeaking noise has stopped now.
Okay, so Mr. Jarrod, do you like to add on this point? Do you like to add something on the question number 3?
Well, that was pretty much all. It's that. No, that was it. I hope I explained it, but I'm not sure if I got all the points you were asking for on that one.
Okay, okay, thank you. So can I connect, dearest leader Karishma Moni, please put your microphone on for the question number 3. That is, please listen, I'm explaining again the question number 3, that we want to actually know who is in charge, who is controlling corruption system, and who is supervising this corruption. As you know, government has all the information that public administration has got corruption. Then why it is still going on? Karishma Moni.
Monira, if I may say, the person who is in charge of the government activities or in any sector he is sitting or having a government job, we all must be knowing that government procedures actually takes a long time. Okay, but people, those who want their work to be completed as soon as it is possible, so they try to bribe such officers and try to complete their work as soon as possible. Like if a government procedure of a house takes 3 months, then people will try to complete it in 1 month. Okay, and they will try to bribe such officers and make their work complete as soon as possible. Okay, so this is one of the reason of increasing corruption. Okay, and secondly, the government persons are not getting well paid off their salaries. Always the government salaries are very low at the starting and higher at the end. But those people do not have such patience to wait for their increment of the salary. They are not working honestly, and in order to get more and more, in order to not get paid off well in the beginning, they try to do corruptions and make the work easy for the people, and they try to bribe and they get bribes, and this is the way the nepotism has been increasing, the corruption has been increasing. These are the main reasons I found in such sectors.
Okay, thanks a lot. Molek Kumar Ghosh from India, can you please explain in your point of view what is the actually who is running this show, corruption in administrative job in public administration? We know very well corruption is there. We want to know who is accessing the power of corruption, who is in charge of the controlling system, and who is supervising all of this corruption. What do you say?
I believe this can be answered in 2 lines only. We are, or 2 words, because as I already said, unless we offer bribes, unless we bribe the people who accept the bribes, there could not be acceptance of bribery. And that is what it is. We are to be blamed. We the people. Like it is in the Declaration of the Independence of the American Independence Declaration, we the people of the United States, and in the Charter of the United Nations, we the peoples in plural. So it is. We the people of our countries who are running the show, because we try to find always an easy way out. And again, reference to the New Testament of the Holy Bible, Jesus Christ said, the way that is wide and easy that leads to destruction, but the way that is narrow and hard that leads to life, and that it is also for a country and a system. We want to choose the light way, easy way. That's how we are corrupting our system as a whole. At least that is my opinion. Thank you.
Okay. Said from Morocco. Uh, okay. Dudik, you have set up. Okay. Thanks. Dudik, sorry, Said, I'm coming to you just after Dudik. Dudik, can you hear? My voice
Yes, I'm
is
here.
clear. Okay.
I can see you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, we can see you. I want to ask you one question, that Dudik, who is in the charge of power, that who is accessing corruption, who is in charge of this public administrative corruption, and who is maintaining and running the show of corruption? What do you think, Georgia Dudik from Europe, Serbia?
I believe money. money is and connection in collegial deal. I don't know, like policeman save another policeman, and lawyer save another lawyer, and this is biggest problem. This is not collegial. This is a lie. Or you have really faith and скажи закон and скажи закон or you have law, or you have this is my colleague, this is my friend, and I don't anything touch. My colleague is take the money, and I don't do this anything. This is my friend. This is problem big. Some people love the money, and another people is good, but have like a friend, and this is not law. This is not the law. Few policemen, don't worry. This is not you have job. Don't worry. This is your friend or don't your friend. You have uniform and you must do it your job. And if you a lawyer or if you diplomatic, you have your job and you have your responsibility. Responsibility. You have your responsibility, and this is problem. Some people, when have power, don't have responsibility. If you have power, you must have first responsibility, and another thing you can have power. This is a big problem. Some people who have power and love money and make to the card, and this is my friend, and don't arrest me, and I can make money. That is okay. We have a big problem and mind the people. We have problem in in hard people don't take two things. Everything is one. Don't take you have a job. If you on the job, you have just the job. You don't mind. You have a law. This job for this thing. This is have consequence, or you have or you have reward for another thing. But not. Some people when talk and live and working and working together. This is my friend. My friend killed somebody. Never mind. This is my friend. This is really problem or old steps, and I think this is problem. Must have if you have if you are have some power, you must if you have some power who is a plus power or the usual man, you must have a plus responsibility for the usual man. If the something usual man have 1 years to jail, you must if you have power, you must go to 2 years in the jail. A property power, you must have the responsibility. I think this is a really good problem. If you have a consequence, everybody who take a bad thing, I think is better for all people. And like the everywhere, like the just a second. Like one bandit sphere and everywhere. This is or medicine people friend with another medicine people and they take the money medicine in hospital. If somebody need a card or I don't know anything, you if somebody take the money that can go. Never mind the law. And this medicine people have another medicine with friend and never mind the law. Like every sphere, every sphere. This is the biggest problem in the head of people. Not one man. This is everywhere. Not just president's problem. No. This is in every sphere, and we must take. I believe we must take some people who have. Okay, I want to do it this job. I want to arrest people who have corruption. But I must the spare, and if I arrest people who take who have corruption, I must responsibility. If these people make 1 year to jail, I go to jail to 5 years for this thing, and I do it. My job is good. And if I have in my hand, okay, I have a responsibility, I can't do it that thing. I believe that is good for people, and this is
Okay.
really really responsibility for the corruption.
Okay. Thank you, Georgia Dudik from Serbia, Europe. So, can I hear from Mr. Said, Morocco,
Yes.
Director at Ministry of Education? Question number 3. Corruption risk in the field of administrative services, access
Yes.
control system. Who is in the charge and supervising? Can you tell us? Can you share?
Okay.
Question number 3.
for
Said, can you hear me?
now wait. Said uh, corruption. You hear me?
Yeah, yeah, please tell. Yeah. Yeah, Said, Said, can you hear me?
You hear me now? Yes.
Yeah, yeah, tell
Okay.
us your view for the question number 3.
Ah. I said a while ago that administrative corruption poses risks to the general functioning of institution and the state in general. The citizen corrects moral. Education is correct. Harm when in the health sector. The when crime in crisis and the hunger is jobs are created in appointments are made by candidate and clientele, not by competence. To the apparatus of a businessman, money, and the dimensions of the educated class. When the anti-corruption committees need another committee to fight their corruption, and so we find ourselves in whirlpool.
Okay, I see. Thank you. So can I connect our dearest international leader and the person who is dealing with all administrative people in America and now the chief international NGO, and he worked for the long time in administration in America and also involved in teamwork, organizational way in America, Mr. Jarrod. I have question number 4, that is how to enhancing public services ethics. We want to know basically how we can enhance ethics in public service according to you. Jared, your microphone is off. Can you please put it on?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is going to be one easy question right there. The biggest thing that we have right now at our disposal is we have social media. Social media right now is one of the greatest tools that we have to fighting any form of corruption because there's probably about 99.9% of the world that's on some form of social media somehow. So if we're fighting corruption somehow, then this is the best way for education and spreading messages. And if it is happening in other countries, they have translation tools where you can you can write up a letter, they can hit translate, and you can send the message out to every country in the world in their own language where everybody can understand exactly what's happening and how.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So, Dekho, what is your point of view? How would you like to add the point that how we can enhance the part of ethics in public administration? How we can really emphasize the part of ethics in our public service?
Sorry, can you again?
Yeah. Yeah. Dudik, my question is, as you can see, we have heard that ethics are lost, right? Honesty is not found in our public administration, in our public service. So my question is how we can increase the value of ethics in our public service. moral, that honesty, trust, how we can gain the trust in public service?
I believe. Okay. First, can I really thanks for the Gerald who's coming in the MEC, and I really thanks you are Sultana for this MEC and all the people who come in here, and. I believe we can make better thing first if we have medium who's working for the this sorry my English we must so many and for the network or the television or radio or the newspaper and everywhere maybe who can talk more for this relation and if we all together work on this problem all together the working not just one country some people we must together and all country working for this job and if we are working together and talking for the corruption or and show every people who make corruption or violence for the power if everybody show and working together I believe we can make it a better thing for these people and I think we can do it something for that question.
Okay, thank you. Nasir, can you hear me from Egypt? Nasir, can you put your microphone and camera mode on, please? Okay, so now I'd like to connect Dr. Karishma Moni from India for the question number 4. The question is how we can enhance the ethical point of view in our public service. Karishma Moni from India.
Monira, I completely agree with Gerard and what they had said through social media. We can spread the awareness regarding corruptions and basically we can educate more people that what is corruption and how people are taking advantages because see we have been talking about how we can fight against corruption, we can fight, but actually people don't know the ways of fighting. So we can educate them by the ways of fighting to corruption. Like if I receive something damaged product, okay, so I would like to report that damage of the product if the shopkeeper is not ready to consumer forum. Likewise, if something is getting corrupted, where to report to ACB or some other levels where to report. We should educate them regarding different sectors. There would be different ways of reporting corruption, so we should educate people for those ways. And thirdly, yes, social media is definitely a very powerful tool where we can make the corruption notice to people. Like recently there was an actor, I think Rahul Bose something, there was a Bollywood actor who had put in a bill of light, light bill, which was being totally corrupted with extra charges and extra amount and extra units. So he had put it into a social media to make people aware like what's going on. And after that, so much of awareness was spread, and he was highly appreciated to fight back against corruption. So like this we can do. And thirdly, like we have been seeing that peoples are painting on the wall, plant a tree, or go green, go India, but they are not means painting on the wall to stop corruption, or this thing is a corruption and this must be a solution for it. So such wonderful quotes should be there in the paintings or something, so that it attracts people and it also increases the knowledge of the people. So I think in this way we can increase the public awareness, and we can inculcate how to stop corruption.
Okay, what a great speech, Dr. Karishma Moni. Thanks. So now I would like to listen from Molay Kumar Ghoshal for the same question, how we can enhance the power of ethics in public service. Molay Kumar Ghoshal from India.
Well, I fully agree with Mr. Gerald and also Dr. Karisma in that sense that freedom of speech, which is also guaranteed by our Constitution, even as a fundamental right, should be upheld, upheld by all the organs of our state. But there is a great danger that such media can also be abused, even misused. And this is one of the reasons I believe, I'm not going to name those media, but well known by most of us, that many of them had to ban a certain person from publishing certain messages. And I'm not referring to that person by name, but he was definitely one of the most powerful individuals in the world until recently. You see, there is a grave danger where such freedom of speech can lead us to. If it is used for something good, then it's wonderful and it should be upheld. But if it is used to corrupt, again, the system as a whole, then of course it has to be curtailed. It is, for example, as I said, freedom of speech is guaranteed by our constitution, but within our union. That means if I say something as a citizen of my country, of Republic of India, citizen of India, within my country, and that stays within my country, it's well and good. But if I use a media to try to say the same thing, it may tantamount an offense, because this freedom of speech is limited to the Union of India and not outside India. So it is with the good and the bad things, and many of the internet sites often provide the opportunities of making something known and again curtailing something. Only recently I published something. I saw a pathetic photograph of a little girl tied her legs, and she's kept on a floor. I don't have to elaborate everything, because you ladies are present here, and I believe many viewers are also ladies. But I believe you know what can be expected of her. And that particular message was blocked by a very popular medium of the site, and they even threatened me that my profile could be deactivated. So I had to withdraw that. That is again a problem. You see, I wanted to help the victims of illegal slavery. I mean, yes, human trafficking and illegal slavery, including little girls, of course. But this didn't work. So where are we to open our mouths? That is a question. Not when, but where.
Okay. Thanks a lot for shedding light on the important issue, Mr. Malik Kumar Ghoshal, our dearest international leader and speaker from India. Thanks for expressing your kind view. So, Said from
Yes,
Morocco, what is your point of view? How we can increase the value of ethics in public service? What do you think? Said from Morocco, Director, Education Ministry from Morocco.
yes. For me, in order to strengthen the ethics of public service, we must bet on education first and secondary. And Jiangxi penalty through judicial reform. In addition to the will and determination, the media can play its role in educating people not to be seasonal whenever the International Anti-Corruption Day comes. The family also plays the role of civil society association as well. We are in need of morals, honesty, encouragement, love of the mission he called for in the public service because the majority of us are not satisfied with the job he performs because it may have been imposed in order to change his living reality. That's enough.
Okay. Thanks a lot to Sai, Director Ministry of Education from Morocco for your explanation. Now, I would like to connect our dearest international leader, Mr. Jarrod, for the question number 5. That is exactly what is the present view of ethics, openness, and anti-corruption system in public service? My question is to you, our dearest leader, Mr. Jarrod, that please explain the ethical point of view that is existing or not in public service. Openness, people are openly talking about it or not. Regarding corruption and ethics, people do have their point of view. They can have the freedom of speech or not. And anti-corruption system, how powerful or strong is anti-corruption body in public service? Mr. Jarrod from America, please explain.
Okay, speaking on the public service side, right now there really is no such thing as freedom of speech anymore because even though it is written in the Constitution of many countries, if you say something against what everybody else is wanting to believe, you get banned. And I mean, I'll even use this for a good example when they talk about the corruption. When, like here in America, they're starting to push the narratives for the different race and genders. And I did put this on the message also that, like, if I go into a crime scene, I go in, I see on DNA evidence, I come in with male or female. You know, if you're wearing a dress, that does not make you a female, regardless of what the media wants you to believe. And I mean, between myself and many other friends of mine, we get blocked routinely on Twitter, Facebook, or any of the other social media groups because they keep wanting everybody to believe what they want them to believe, not what is actual science or what is truth. And same thing like with the anti-corruption. If if you're in a country where you speak out against it, you're taking prison time, or some countries you're facing death. And I mean, there are countries out there that will put you down for speaking the truth.
Okay.
I
Thank you
mean,
for
like
your view. Yeah.
like
Yes.
during my time, I mean, I've been to 38 different countries, and
Yeah.
I can speak from experience on each one of them between like the Baltic states, the European states, the South American states. There is no real, actual, true freedom of speech anywhere.
Okay. Yes. So now I would like to connect our dearest international speaker, Dudik. Can you please tell us what is the actual present condition of ethics, openness, freedom of speech, and anti-corruption body? What do you think? How powerful is the anti-corruption system now in the public service to work against corruption? And if people are strong and open enough to raise their voice against corruption, and how the ethical part right now in public service? Dudik from Europe, Serbia. Yes, Dudik, can you hear?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. Is the question clear enough, or I should repeat it again, please?
There is no really freedom in for or speech or for the all Balkan. We have freedom, but not really freedom. Everybody can talk, but not everywhere, everything. And yeah, we don't have a really freedom for the speak. No for television, no for everywhere. If you can speak, but if you talk too much, you have problem. But I think this is a problem in every for the Balkan problem. Yes, but I think this is problem in all world.
Okay.
Yes, but this is yes, that is a problem. But I think it's a biggest problem when somebody talk with people hate. People, people hate speech. This is a thing. This is a really problem. Not freedom or the television. Yes, that's problem. But I think biggest problem when somebody talk the hate speech for another people in the some in on television or on church on anywhere. Uh, that is thing I think this is a really problem. Uh, on the television, you have как скажи, my word is not. I don't have word. um, we have border on the television or everywhere.
Okay. Yeah, I got your point. Dr. Karishma Muni, what is your point of view regarding the present situation of ethics, openness, freedom of speech, and how do you think that how powerful anti-corruption body they are to control corruption in public service? According to you, Dr. Karishma Moni from India.
Monira,
Yes.
it's as it's mentioned that there is when we tries to speak something against corruption, there is always a blockage from the government sector. Like the recent example, the government has tried to ban Instagram or Facebook and many other social apps if people are trying to to oppose this political parties or something. So they have changed all the policies issue, and they have been so dominant that they have clearly warned that if you do not change your terms and conditions or privacy policies, then we will ban Facebook and Instagram from India. So these were the conditions. So definitely antibodies or the opposition parties or the one who is corrupting is almost powerful. But at the same time, it is also said that the truth is the COVID shield of corruption. Truth is the cover shield of corruption. So, if not possible to try to stop corruption at big levels, we can first try to stop corruption at the small level. Okay, it is a saying in Hindi, बूंद बूंद से सागर बनता है. It's a very famous in India, that बूंद बूंद से सागर बनता है. Like a little droplets of a water can create the ocean of sea. So it's a small droplets of water can melt a stone. So it's like if we try to, stop corruption at least on the small nominal level, it will be, once reached to a greater height. So it is just, we have to take a step to, stop corruption, I feel.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Karishma, for your voice. Now, I would like to add the point of my dearest journalist friend, Mr. Nasser. As you can see, he is sharing his view in our chat box. Please, I would request all of you to have a look in our chat box to get Nasser, the journalist from Egypt, who is trying to explain how is the situation of corruption worldwide. So I would like to connect Malay Kumar Ghoshal from India for this present scenario. Malay Kumar Ghoshal, I would like to have your point of view regarding the present situation of ethical point of view, freedom of speech, openness, how public they can share and they can open their point of view regarding this corruption, and how powerful this anti-corruption body is. What is your point of view, Malay Kumar Ghoshal from India?
Before I answer that question, with kind consent of Mr. Gerald, I would like to quote something said by a very outstanding president of the United States of America. In fact, thanks to whose challenge, many countries in Europe could reunite again into another sphere as it took place a couple of decades ago. And I'm referring to none other than late President Ronald Reagan, who said so wonderfully when President Gorbachev was the president of Soviet Union, or I should say General Secretary of Soviet Union. He said an American and a Soviet Russian were holding a conversation. And the American said, I can just go up to White House, stamp with my fist onto the table and say, President Reagan, you are creating such a havoc in our country. And the Russian counterpart said, we can do that too. He said, can you? He said, yes, I can go to President Gorbachev and say, General Secretary, stamp my hand on the fist onto the table and say, Mr. Ronald Reagan is causing havoc in the world. It's a joke told by Mr. Ronald Reagan himself, I should say late President Ronald Reagan. But you see, this is what his theory and practice is. We have, as I said, freedom of speech guaranteed in our Constitution, even in our fundamental rights. And we can do that. But the problem is where it is curtailed, because Article 21 of our Constitution says guarantees our freedom provided this is not curtailed or regulated by the law. And that law is often imposed, and by the time it is again goes up all the way to the Supreme Court of India and is declared unconstitutional, too many injustice occurrences, or I should say, take place. And that is the fact. You see, I'm giving you a couple of examples. My apologies. 498A in the criminal, I should say, Indian Penal Code was introduced to protect women who were often being victimized by their in-laws. They were burnt and people were claiming it was kitchen fire, etc. And in order to protect those women, the Parliament introduced 498A in the Indian Penal Code, that when women are somehow tortured, either physically or mentally, it will become indictable and non-bailable offense. That means people could be arrested and put in prison. But many people, in order to blackmail their in-laws, began to abuse this. Only a few years ago, 354 of our Indian Penal Code was changed to protect women. That showed that even if I winked at a woman, a lady with my eye, I could be considered an offender. I could be put in prison. But then again, people want to blackmail others and wanted to abuse this. So again, there is a great danger where you exactly draw the line. And by the time something is decided by the Honorable Supreme Court of India, ages go by, time passes, and too many people are victimized. Even some of them are no longer alive by the time the result comes out. That is the problem.
Right.
Thank you.
Saeed from Morocco, do you like to add on this point, please, Saeed? For the question number that we
Yes,
want to
okay.
know, 5 number
Okay.
question, please.
For me, becomes so rampant in our society. Thus, it cannot be fought except with the latest weapons. We deal with it. We use it. We wake up with it and sleep with it. You take money in return for the service for our violation of you is waiting for his rights money. And if you refuse, your punishment may be evacuation the farthest area into the arch. That's all.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Said, for your explanation. I would like to connect our dearest international leader, Mr. Jarrod, for the next question. The challenge of poor governance and corruption. What is the challenge of poor governance and corruption according to you, our dearest international leader and speaker, Mr. Jarrod?
Okay, the challenge for poor governance and leadership falls on the people because you can't. It's like running a business. If you're trying to run a business that's very corrupt, the people that's affected the most is the ones that work under you. Because, like as a business leader, you can leave and go somewhere else, and if you got the money or the power behind you, you're not affected. It's the ones that have the families that they're trying to establish or try to raise that they're the ones that's going to be hit the hardest. So the biggest challenge are for the all the smaller people below.
Okay. Thank you. So, Dudik, what is your point of view regarding the poor governance and corruption? What is your point of view on this? Poor governance, that governance when lost its power to control corruption. How is the situation? Our dearest leader and speaker, Dudik from Serbia. Are you getting my point? Dudik, should I repeat the question again, please? We want to know the challenge of corruption and poor governance.
In government, challenge for the corruption, it's to do it first in institution. First in institution must do it control. First must do it in lawyer company, on police, on government, on everywhere. Must do it control, really progressive control. Uh, when controlling corruption and fighting, I believe it can finding more corruption, and that these people must to show on TV, and after the must show all the people what do it with people who make corruption. This all people must see on the news, on the TV, on everywhere. When these people who making corruption, when these people going to jail and stay the jail, don't go to jail 3 days or 1 month and go out. This is uh, not really big thing. If when government take these people who making corruption and go to lawyer and go to jail for a month, much year, and this is a solution for the challenge on the government. I believe that is, and for every sphere, but is biggest sphere. Not you take just some people who molar, some molar or electric men who don't have money, have salary 300 euro and have 10 euro for the one job. And you, if you make this man who don't have money for the 10 euro and go to jail, that's not really a really big thing. But if you take and the rest people who making a big thing, who still 10 million or 1 billion euro dollars, never mind. When you steal that people and that people when go to jail, this is challenging for this government. I believe these people, well, everyone know these power people who have power, who have much money, who have $1 billion, and do it bad thing and don't go to jail and just walk like freedom. Um, this is this is not good, and the people don't have faith for government. Not this government, just Serbia. People don't have faith in Croatia, in Bosnia, in everywhere. People don't have faith. You when government or police steal and arrest people who take the $10, don't have money for the food and take the $10, you can arrest him and go to jail 10 years. That's not big deal for the people. People don't love that, and people don't have faith. If you arrest your people who don't have money for the eating, and when every people know much power people who have who steal $1 billion just go in freedom. I think this is really a challenge for this government, my government, or every government.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Karishma Moni from India, I would like to connect you for the question number 6, the challenge of poor governance and corruption. What is your point of view? The challenge of corruption and poor governance.
Monira, can you elaborate your question
Yes.
because still the point of the question is not very clear.
Okay. The point is, you see, when corruption is there, when poor governance means you have less control to
Yes, excuse me, are you referring
hold the
to
system of corruption. That means corruption is overpowering everything. Okay, corruption is on the ruling system. Corruption is ruling, and when we don't have the fair system, like the law should be for everyone, equal justice, equal peace, equal rights should be for everyone. Corruption is prevailing all day, and the law and justice doesn't hold, doesn't have the hold. You get the challenge of this, where fair judgment, where fair enough of rights of speech, we have lost the power of human rights, and we are not getting the proper justice, and peace is not established due to this corrupted system. This kind of environment is very much challenging and crucial for everyone. What is your point of view?
Manira, see, whenever one person takes a job, like when we are going to interview, do the interview for the jobs, or everyone, tries to ask you the experience, like how experienced you are in and all. But if you find in government's job, no one interviews you. You have to just fill up a form, and according to your degrees and everything, you get selected, and then you directly reach to the post, and so on. The job moves on. Mostly, I've observed these things. So, first of all, an app training should be given to government employees. App training should be given, and the persons who are working honestly in all those years and all, they are not getting any reinforcement. That's why the thing, proper reinforcement of doing everything is required. Like if a child studies, and if you or me being a teacher does not appreciate that child, then definitely the child will think how much I studied, they are never satisfied. The same with the employees of the government, the same with the people who are working honestly into the government sector. They are not getting any kind of reinforcement from the higher people or the administrative sectors. This is the result. Their mind is getting ruined, and they are, rather than walking on the right track, they are being forced to walk in the wrong track. So proper kind of reinforcements, rewards should be given to them, like for the sincerely working for their duties and everything. This is one of my viewpoint. And secondly, an apt kind of training. Okay, apt kind of training should be given to them before they pursue their job. Thirdly, there has to be a test they should go, a honesty test actually. See, I being a journalist, I have observed and visited many of the companies where I can see that whenever a new something they are doing, they give a drill or a mock test in all the companies. So like this way, whenever a government employee or a higher administrative post they pursue, they should be also, should be going to give a mock test like this, so as we can test their loyalty and honesty. If this thing is adopted by the system, then I think we are surely going to get lots of honest leaders, and this problem of corruption will surely decrease out through all these things.
Okay. How is your point of view, our Molek Kumar Ghoshal from India, that the challenge of poor governance and corruption? What is the challenging part in your point of view?
Well, you see, the practicalities show that if we bring up a child properly, that child learns to act properly later in his life. I should be very grateful to the Almighty that my parents taught me many lessons when I was a little boy, not necessarily by punishing me, but explaining to me. And I believe we also need to explain to children from their early age what is right and what is wrong, without putting them in fear of something. And later they develop them to accept the right thing. Not long ago, I spoke about that famous book, again written by an American author, none other than Robert Louis Stevenson. And that book is well known throughout the world, called Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We all have a dark side and a bright side, or I should say good side, in or within us. The important thing is we should let that good side prevail over that dark side. And if a child is brought up properly, whether by its parents, its local guardians, its custodians, its teachers, etc., 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 then that child is usually also a person who learns to reject the wrong and accept the good and follow the good. And this is the problem in our country, that often, I should say not merely in our country, throughout the world I should say, often children are not brought up properly. And that is why later in life they have to face problems, even they are tempted to be corrupted very easily. If I remember, forgive me, my apologies to this gentleman, this senior police officer, Mr. Crockett, I believe. How do you pronounce him? And apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name, sir. A police officer came to my house recently because I called him and he was in a friendly tone. And I said to him quite frankly, I said, look, I'm a teacher. You come to me for a lesson. You say you don't have enough money to pay. I will accept it. I shall teach you free of charge. But you say you are going to give me money and I shall let you pass an examination. I will slap you on your face. That's what I said to him. You see, this is something because I know it is wrong to accept money. When I teach at Calcutta University, if anybody wants to employ me as a tutor, private tutor, I say, well, then you first cross out your name from the university on two grounds. Number one, if I become your tutor, I may be favorable to you, and that means I shall no longer be impartial towards others. And secondly, of course, there are many who cannot pay me properly, unlike you. So I shall be unfair towards them. But this I came to know because my parents taught me what is right and what is wrong from an early age. Even though I had been away from my parents, uninterruptedly for 18 years from as a teenager, since my teenage, till I became 35 years of age, or 35 years old. But you see, this is something because this was in my blood at the very initial stage when I first began learning something, even perhaps before I learned to walk properly. And this is something we need to teach our children, I mean our country children. I don't have any child of my own, but I'm saying our children, children of our country, each of our country, community, continent. And one more thing we need to do, we need to work internationally. The time has come that we forget that we are a single nation in each community. We are global citizens. We need to build up something like they have built up in Europe, like they have European Convention of Human Rights, and therefore they have European Commission, European Court of Human Rights. Now they have also developed International Criminal Court, and also they had already International Court sitting in The Hague earlier. But you see, these things we need from all together, that there will be also something like that in order to battle corruption. And I mean, not merely bribery. Also, I'm including other types of corruption, including human trafficking, international relationship, like what happened recently. You all know that a certain country forced an airline to turn back and to land into another country and arrest an opponent politician because he was an opponent politician. Somebody, when he returned from a certain Western country in Europe, was put in jail even though he had already been under severe physically, what would I say, illness due to certain drugs that was given to him in his native country. And when he returned to his native country, he has been put in prison, and he's still in prison. But you see, because we do not have a strong international, I should say, court or commission or anything to exercise authority over these powerful countries. And that is a problem.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Saeed from Morocco, do you like to say your view? What is the challenging part? I mean to say the question number 6, the challenging part of poor governance and corruption. Saeed, can you hear me? Said from Morocco. I think there is some network
Can you hear
issue
me?
in his. Yeah. Please tell me. I'm asking the question number 6. That is the
Oh,
challenging part of poor governance.
Honor. Uh, in my opinion, I think that societies have gone into corruption. If we were to be upright, we must be in the virtuous state of Plato. But we can try to encourage science. We can try to encourage science and great scholars to put the right man in the right place. Fight clientelism, the independence of the judiciary and the media, but the current government cannot be beat on because they did not the election are coming. However, it remains extremely difficult for anybody to fight it if it does not have the required integrity.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Said. Can I connect our dearest international leader, Mr. Jarrod? For you, I have question number 7, that the cost of corruption in our society. What does the cost of corruption? Mr. Jarrod from America. Your microphone is off. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
cost
Now,
the
okay.
cost of corruption is not measurable. It is huge because the long term effects can literally last for generations to clean up the mess that everybody's made.
Mhm. Okay. So, what is your point of view, Dudik? The cost of corruption. The corruption takes away many things. What is that? In your point of view, the abuse of power. You know, the abuse of power in government, in public service.
I'm not sure. I just know. Can you ask me again?
Yes, Dudik. Tell us the cost of the corruption that takes away many things. What is that in your point of view? Cost of corruption, that means
Price.
corruption is doing harm. How much harm is corruption doing according to you?
Uh, prices on the corruption is first people don't have faith on the government. People don't have faith on the institution. On the people don't have faith on the
Dudik, I'm not getting your voice very clearly. Can you check your connection, please? Dudik,
hear me?
there is a noise during your call. Uh, is my voice clear to you, Dudik?
Yes, I can hear you, but I'm not sure
Okay,
if
okay,
you.
please go on. Carry on.
Okay. Prices for the corruption. First, people don't have faith from the institution and don't have faith for the government and don't have faith from the life and have too much criminal and have too much problem on the country and not just my country have problem in many countries. And this is for me the biggest problem if people don't have faith, don't not feeling safe in country, not feeling safe for the children, for the parents, for the family, and this is not good. And if people don't have energy to work, to don't have future, have corruption. That is
Okay.
right.
Dudit, your voice is not very clear. Can you please check the connection? And I would request you to restart your phone and rejoin because the voice is not at all clear. There is even noise. Okay, so now I would like to connect Dr. Karishma Moni for the question number 7, the cost of corruption in our society.
I would just like to quote that due to the corruption, the rich is becoming more richer and the poor is becoming more poorer. Okay, it's because of greed for money and the background status of lack of poverty. All these are the main causes actually, and basically the greed for money is the main cause of corruption because, as you see, if some officer has been born and brought up into a very miserable condition at the earlier stage, or if his background on social status or financial status is not very good, then ultimately due to the greed of money he would end up doing this like this ways, he would end up earning more money, and he would end up being more greedy. So these may be the reasons, but nowadays I feel the rich is becoming more richer and poor is becoming more poorer, in every, and it is not in only in government sector, in each and every sector the corruption is increasing. I told you it is more dangerous than coronavirus because this virus is spreading day by day in each and every country.
Thank you. Molay Kumar Bhuttal, what is your point of view, please, on this topic that cost of corruption, according to you?
Before I endeavor to answer this particular question, I would like to modify my foregoing elaboration. I referred to the International Court of Justice, International Criminal Court of Justice, the European Commission of Human Rights, European Court of Human Rights, but there is again a catch. You see, all these institutions can only declare the law. They have no instrument to enforce the law, even their own decisions. The native countries have to adopt such, I should say, declaration in parliamentary and legal system and enforce it. That is the, and okay, I want to use a phrase. It is a very impolite, it's an impolite phrase, and my apologies to the ladies particularly. But in Bengali, we have a phrase which says, Ek balti dudhe, ek mota chona. That means, in a whole bucket of pure milk, one single drop of the urine of the cow that destroys the whole milk. You see, this is what is corruption is like in a country. A country can be almost perfect in its systems, as far as the systems are concerned. But a little percentage of the population, of the public servants, may be in the members of the organs, they may be politicians. With all my apologies to the honorable judiciary, maybe that's maybe in judiciary, but that destroys the whole system, like that tripod stool. If you cut a leg, even partially, the stool is like to fall off. Or put a balance too heavy on one side and lighten the balance on the other side. So it is with the system of a country. A little few people, I'm saying few people, can destroy the whole system, the sound system of a country, if those few people are corrupted and if they are not put out of the service at the very outset, at the very early voting. This can have devastating consequences uh, in the future. And that is what's happening in our country, on our continent, in various other countries, and throughout the world today.
Okay.
Except
Sari from Morocco, would you like to tell us about the cost of corruption? Sorry, Molay Kumar, have you finished or did I
yes, I
interrupt
said
you?
thank you. Yes. Oh, sorry. No, I should not try to hold a speech like many politicians do. They go on for hours and tire the people. No, I was taught by our former vice principal who came from Pennsylvania that Abraham Lincoln, before he became the president, he wrote down his speech on an envelope, in a brief envelope, and delivered that speech. So my speech should not be longer than my wisdom. That's what is important.
Okay, so now I would like to connect Mr. Jared from America. I have the question number: financial cost of corruption, common types of corruption like bribery. What is your point of view, Mr. Jared from America?
Okay, can you repeat the question? We got a lot of background noise going.
Okay, so the question is the cost of corruption in the society we have asked already. Now would like to know the financial cost of corruption, common types of corruption as we can see the bribery. What is the actual, the nasty, the vulgar part of this bribery, financial cost of corruption?
Okay, the final share cost is gonna be the end result for the government because they're the ones that have to have all the ultimate responsibility for everybody that they're dealing with. The bribery, uh, it's in all governments right now. You see it from all sides, all levels, and sorry, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to word this, but the final cost is it's just a very high it's just a very high cost because as I said earlier, it's like with the cost of corruptions now, the final results is we're going to be paying for generations to come.
Okay.
And I don't know how long it's going to take before the countries actually start to recover from all the corruption that we have now. Uh, India, I know you see it, and there's a lot of people here in America that's being influenced by the different scam groups. They're actually making television shows out of them now, where they have people that's like scamming money from elderly, from sick people, and the government knows that it's there, and the government doesn't do anything about it. So the cost is just immeasurable now.
So I have the general question to you, our dearest international leader, Mr. Jarrod. So do you think the awareness session can do something to raise the voice against corruption like this sort of program as we are holding today? Can we do a little bit more? Can we do something positive about to do something against corruption and this poor governance? Do you think that this sort of program can help to resist the corruption system? What is your point of view, Dr. Our dearest leader, Mr.
No,
Jarrod?
not a doctor.
Sorry.
No, I do. I agree. It takes one person to make the voice known, and then it starts a chain reaction to build up to everybody else. And once that one person gets it started, they go to another person, then it goes to another person. I mean, even if it's not using social media, just even if it's just one person, giving a speech or doing a conference like this, the more people you get involved, the more people know. And I mean, we've
Okay.
all said pretty much the exact same thing, that education is going to be the key.
Right. Mr. Jared, I know that you are involved in many social programs and you are raising your voice and you are creating awareness. Have you seen that multinational initiatives like today, have you seen that ever happened to raise corruption, to resist the corruption system? Has any sort of programs ever happened, or what is your advice? Should we do more on this? This sort of multinational programs should be conducted more. What is your advice?
Well, I definitely think it should be happening more because with the economic society that we have now, I mean, the more people get involved, the more people we can stop. Because corruption is an endless cycle. I mean, as long as there's money to be made, the criminals are taking advantage of it.
Right.
So the more people that get involved, the more people become aware that this is happening, the more people we can stop. And from like my past experiences, yes, I have seen organizations like this or the conferences actually make a difference because if they see that people are becoming more knowledgeable, then they take their business and they go somewhere else. I mean, it's not really solving the problem; it's just moving it to where it's not affecting the other people.
Okay. Thanks for your point of view. So can I connect Dudik from Europe, Serbia? What is your point of view? That the question number 8, financial cost, the bribery, as you know, most of the time we see that people give bribe to some powerful people so that they can get advantage. They can reduce the time of service. So what is your point of view? How the crucial part of bribery, according to you, Dudik from Serbia?
I'm not sure what is the word bribery.
Bribery, that means people gives money to get advantage.
Okay, can you ask me again? Sorry, can you again tell me question?
Okay, the question is, suppose you are a government officer, I am giving you money so that I can get the service quickly. Okay, and as if you are a police officer, as you are a sergeant in the transportation system in road, and I am giving you money so that I can get out of you when I don't have driving license. Okay,
Yes,
like
yes.
this sort of, we are using money so that we can get out of the right kind of law. We don't need to face the law, we don't need to face any kind of charges. We are
Yes.
giving you money to get
Uh,
out of the
because
punishment.
much people who don't have or driving license or have I don't know some bad document just take in the or you driving truck or you driving I don't know. This is the more country. Uh, you go in a truck or the car and take the police just stop you and you take in the passport or driver license you take the I don't know 10, 20, 50 euro and take the policeman and police just see okay, okay, money, okay, okay, everything is good, you know, goodbye. uh, this is like if you go to the go and talk with the church or some who is the working lawyer and you go to the drink with him and in the other table you can move it money and this is just your friend. Okay, you kill somebody. Okay, you at the table you take the money, just everything okay, or the policeman or anything. Uh, not exactly like that, but like that. This is
Okay.
system. And
Okay.
this this is everywhere, but somewhere big and somewhere little.
Okay. Thank you. Dr. Karishma Muni, what is your point of view regarding financial cost, the bribery system that is going on right now in every country that we are hearing?
Monira, as you see nowadays, it would increase more and more because you have seen that due to this coronavirus, many countries had to face a severe lockdown and the business was totally zero, economical conditions and everything is totally zero. Now to recover all this, the bribery and each and everything will increase so fast. So definitely, those who have recovered losses in their business, those government sectors who have not earned well this time, so this bribery and all these things will surely going to increase now. It will play a major part now. The corruption will not decrease but will increase more, I'm sure, due to this economic this thing which was caused by the government itself. So now everything will be very costly, everything will increase, and each and every bribery sector will also increase. Those who used to charge 500 rupees fees as a corruption now will they charge 1,000 rupees for it. So everything is going to be so costly and every corruption is going to increase more due to
Okay.
this entire scenario we have faced now.
Okay. Malay Kumar, what is your point of view regarding this financial corruption, bribery?
Well, it is bringing down our country. That's all I can say. In fact, I believe Dr. Karisma will be able to correct me since she's in the film industry, but I'm not. Um, Hollywood shot a lovely film, and I saw it many years ago. It's called The Untouchables. Four men, among whom I can name late um, Sean Connery, played decisively important roles fighting against corruption. And I believe this is very important. We have much to learn from that film, although it's merely a Hollywood film. That's all I can say, that we have to learn in our lives how to battle along, fighting against corruption, not giving into corruption. Hoping to get advantage by paying some extra money can only lead our country to total destruction. The
Okay.
way that is wide and it is easy to access leads to destruction, but the way that is narrow and hard leads to life. The moral from the Holy Bible, from the New Testament.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. Charisma,
Okay.
for applauding me.
Saeed from
This
Port
is
of Call, what
Yes.
is your point of view regarding the question number 8, financial corruption, bribery?
Uh, for me, corruption, uh, I think that the bravery is the brave is the fight against. The cost of corruption on society is exorbitant. Morality is lacking, increase abound, poverty increases, armed group state papers are scarce, captured and arrest and occur. That is what is happening today in Nigeria, Libya, Yemen, Afghanistan, Syria, and yesterday Somalia. Now they cannot go back to the beginning of the road and fix the matter. It's too late, and the situation will remain deterioration until it is reserved God, the earth, and those on
Okay, thank you. Can I connect our dearest international leader, Mr. Jarrod, for the question number, what is the reason for this continuation of corruption? we all see that there is very limited risk of detention and punishment. Those who are involved in corruption, they are less punished than should be. And in your point, what is the real reason for this continuous corruption? Mr. Jarrett from America.
Biggest reason is money and power, because the people in power don't like to give it up, and like the other gentleman said, the rich are rich, the poor is poor. And if you start taking away their money, then that gives them more incentive to make it worse. So that's where it comes down to. It's an endless cycle for like criminals. One person steps down, one more steps up.
Right.
So the more we get involved, the more we can try to control or stop.
Okay. Thank you. Ludik, what is your point of view that continuous corruption, what is the real reason behind this continuous corruption?
Corruption, corruption is continuous before because government or police or law don't don't do this job good. When government and police and everybody do it this job really good, that corruption can be, but not more. Can be really small. And if get doing job really good, after some time, that corruption is not to be. But I tell again, uh, we must do it together. Something for that. We must fighting for that together, and that corruption is not to be. And some Gerald is good to talk. I hear must much uh, uh, when, uh, that is good with little with if we have much with education.
Thank you, Dudik. Now I would like to connect Dr. Karishma Moni for the question number 9, reasons for the continuous corruption. As we can see, there is very limited risk of detention and punishment for the corrupted people. What is your opinion regarding the continuous corruption that is happening again and again? Dr. Karishma Moni from India.
Monira, your question itself consists of an answer that yes, due to the lack of punishment for corrupting people, they just have to impose some fines and there is no strict punishment in that sector. So they are continuously, these activities are being, spreaded and, continuously increasing because of lack of punishment. So I think the punishment rules should be more strict towards them. This is the first thing we can reduce. And secondly, I told you there is lack of awareness among the people, like one is corrupting and other is promoting. So that is also a lack of awareness of the people, lack of education and knowledge of the people against corruption. And there is also lack of punishments, like there is no strict punishments for such corrupted peoples. Either they just lose a job, then they get a new job again, and then they start the same practice. If a corrupted person is caught by the police or the cops, then he will try to bribe the cops as well, or the officer as well, or the lawyers as well. So in this way the corruption is continuously increasing because of the lack of punishment and lack of rules and lack of strictness. So these are the main causes of corruption increasing.
Okay. Thanks a lot for your answer, Dr. Karishma Moni. I would like to connect Maulay Kumar Ghoshal from India for the same question, the continuous corruption. What is the reason behind of this issue, continuous corruption? Why it is happening?
Well, greed is most probably the main reason why corruption is increasing throughout the world. The earth produces enough for everyone's need, but it can never produce enough for anyone's greed. Corruption is increasing, it is true, but there is a problem as far as conviction is concerned and punishment is concerned. If I'm not wrong, Mr. Crockett will be able to correct me. In the United States, they follow the rule, which is called the assumption of innocence. That means a person is deemed innocent, the accused is deemed innocent until proven guilty beyond all reasonable doubts. And the accuser must prove that guilt beyond all reasonable doubts. And the same pattern is followed in our country, India. And it becomes often very difficult to prove, particularly for the against influential people, that they are corrupted because they have many ways to get out. It is very difficult. Fortunately, I should say in this case, we do not have jury trials in our country, but in the United States they do. Often it is very difficult to convince the court that the money that a person accepted, he didn't, for example, use it in order to serve humanity, but for his own self. And if jury trials were held in our country, most people would even be acquitted on this ground if they could prove, or the prosecution failed to prove that the money was used for the greedy people themselves and not for some good purpose, for the genuine work they wanted to do for the public sector, for the betterment, I should say, for the development of their country. And that is a problem. Thank you.
Okay. Welcome. Said, what is your point of view regarding the continuous corruption from Morocco? Said. Question number 9. Said, your microphone is off.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, talking about one of the reasons for the exacerbation of corruption are intertwined and complex matter. Maybe greed, maybe moral, maybe education, maybe poverty, maybe it's become a habit. I don't know. But what should be pointed out is that we have gone too far in corruption forever. All.
Okay. Thank you, Said. So I am connecting Mr. Jared from America for the answer of the solution. What should be the appropriate solution to stop all corruption and the remedial measures? What is your point of view?
My answer for that would be trying to put the power to the people. If we were actually true democratic societies, then we wouldn't have to worry about the corruption within the political regimes. That we can say, okay, if we don't like what you're doing, you're done. You're out of here. We're going to replace you right now without having to worry about waiting until the next elections. Because if you have a person that's in power right now and you can't get rid of them, you're stuck with them until the end of their term. So they're going to continue doing what they're doing until they're physically or forcefully removed. So we need to find a way to say, okay, well, even like you said, if we're the ones in charge, we need to be the ones to have the decision and the answers.
Dudik, what is your point of view? How we can resist corruption? Dudik, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, Dudik, what is the answer for the solution part? How we can solve the issue of corruption?
So we can
Dudi, the point is how we can suggest the remedial measurement, how we can solve and provide the solution to stop the corruption.
Uh, solution for the stop corruption, we must fighting together. We must fighting together and do it like this, like, like this, like this emisji to what we talk now here in the emisji. You now fighting. You now fighting like areas, everybody here. Uh, we now fighting with corruption, and we must do it much MEC for the corruption, and we much do it. Have the we must together have do it to pressure on the government, not just uh, one country must do it together, pressure for the whole government, and must do it something for the death. We must show for this all the people for the corruption, and not just corruption. We must show everybody for the violence. Violence with power. That is violence with power. That is biggest problem. I think. I believe that is really
Okay.
big problem. Uh, Corruption do it people who have power. This is big problem. Not problem power. Not problem corruption with some I don't know people who's working in market. This is not corruption. Really corruption
Got it.
uh, in the institution. This is corruption. I believe.
Okay. Got it, Dudi. Please take care while you are driving. You should take care of yourself. Don't talk while you are driving, please.
Safe
So,
drive.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Profit.
So I want to ask the question to Dr. Karishma Moni that can you please explain the view? What is the solution part? How we can solve this very crucial problem of corruption? What is the suggested remedial measurement according to you, Dr. Karishma Moni from India?
See, there is simple solution. Get education regarding what is corruption, and be aware, be alert, and start with yourself first. Matlab, like as an individual, if I have to take some work out of anybody, then I should not bribe him or corrupt him or try to promote the activities of corruption. So like the simple solution is start with yourself first, educate yourself, be aware in yourself, just be a little bit alert on yourself. This is the best way like to solve the problem of corruption. Once we start with ourselves, then we can educate others, and then we can share our knowledge with others.
Okay, thank you. Mohammed Kumar Ghoshal, what is your point of view, please?
Well,
How we can solve the issue, corruption?
Dr. Karishma has spoken so well that I have very little to add to it. I just want to give an example. If we point at somebody with our index, three of the remaining fingers point at us. So charity begins at home, and we need to begin with ourselves to be free of corruption before we try to criticize others. But
Right.
again, as it was said by one of the late American presidents during the Cold War, and I pray for correction that Mr. Crockett will be pleased to correct me if I'm wrong. Unity gives strength. So we need to work unitedly on the same platform of the world to fight against corruption with each other, not against each other. That
Right.
is, there is no rivalry, but we must work hand in hand. The FBI and the uh, what are the other ones in the United States? in our country, we have, as I said, Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI. So, and other organizations throughout the world must work together to fight against corruption. The judiciary must be, or ought to be, absolutely impartial throughout the world. And as I said already, there should also be administration practiced by the administrative servants, which whether they be civil servants in certain countries, administrative servants in our countries, and elsewhere they may have a different category or state I should say, in plural. But the important thing is we must work together against corruption, not against each other. We are
Okay.
not rivals. Yes.
Yes.
Just one before I conclude this, I mentioned this story before, and this is something wonderful. And since we have today such a experienced and well-reputed member of the Defense Force of the United States of America, I was told a story. Since we had D-Day very recently, the story was about when the American forces landing on Normandy, on the coast of Normandy on D-Day of the Gregorian year 1944. Initially, they were beaten back by the Germans. But what happened? There were two individual soldiers, very close friends of each other. Allow me to name one of them John and the other Paul. Now, Paul didn't return with his fellow soldiers. So John said to the corporal, "Corporal, sir, I crave leave to go and find my friend who hasn't returned." The corporal said, "Are you mad? Have you forgotten what happened on the battlefield, how we were beaten?" He said, "Sir, I crave leave." So the corporal was frustrated. He said, "Go to hell," giving him the leave. About 2 hours later, he returned with the dead body of his fellow soldier on his shoulder. And the corporal said, "Look, I said he would be dead." He said, "No, sir, corporal, he was not dead when I found him." He said, "John, this is Paul who died, and John, I knew you would be coming looking for me. And with that spirit, we need to go into the world to fight against corruption, that we must carry our soldiers, if they're dead, on our shoulders, but we must return to find them first." Thank you.
Okay. Saeed, what is your point of view regarding this, the solution part? Can you suggest us, please? Saeed, your microphone is off. Can you put it on, please? Microphone.
Who microphone? Sorry.
Okay.
Saeed,
Okay.
Saeed.
Now,
Morocco.
now
Yeah. Tell us, please.
for me, the proposed remedial measures are the following: equitable distribution of wealth over poverty, honesty in accomplishing tasks, in addition to severe injunctive penalty against to correct whatever the ranks within the state apparatus.
Okay.
Just
Uh, are you finished, Saeed?
yes.
Okay. So can I connect our dearest international leader, Mr. Jarrod from America, for the last message to the world? What is your
Okay, my
message
last
to the world?
message. My last.
Last message. That means what you want to convey to the world, international community.
My last message is be just like we spoke through this entire conference is keep aware of what's happening, educate yourself, educate those around you, and like Ms. Krujma was saying too, is don't be afraid to fight. Because in order to beat this, we have to be the proactive steps in order to break the cycle.
Okay. Dudik, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
What is your last message to the world? Finally, what you like to say to the international community?
I want to say, first, I want to thanks everybody who's coming here. I want to really thanks Gerald, whose answer on the MEC. And I really thank you for this MEC, and I thanks everybody, every ghost who's coming here now, and I wanna tell something that we now doing something for the corruption or violence with power. This MEC is fight now. This is one way we fight with this thing who is bad, and just we must take together take everybody and fight with corruption, with everything who is bad for the people, all the world. And if we do it, that we can do it a good thing.
Okay. Thanks a lot for sharing your opinion. Malay Kumar, what is your last message to the world, please?
Let us speak out, speak up within the framework of the laws of the nations, unitedly, all of us together, from all countries and continents. Thank you.
Okay. So, can I connect Said? Karishma Moni, can you hear us? Karishma Moni, can you put your microphone on?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay,
I
Karishma.
think the bad connection. Yes.
No problem. Karishma, we can hear you. Just tell us how you want to conclude the session, how you want to summarize your view on this